were you always following Christ? Were you always a Christian? Like, what was life like growing up for you when it came in regards of faith?
Yeah. So I had a really crazy upbringing that I used to think like, oh, it's just me who goes through this. And come to find out, we all have crazy stories sometimes. But my mom suffers from schizophrenia and she has since I was young. And when I was 4, her episodes and her hallucinations and all of those things, they kind of latched onto me as like the target. And then at 11, some other things happened because she always thought that things happened between my father and I, which they never did.
Mm-hmm.
But that was why she tormented me all the time. And so finally at 11, I was like, fine. Yes, all of it happened. Everything you say, all the gory details, everything. And so then she had me memorize this story that she wrote down for me. I went to the judge. Anyways, we went to the back of a Kmart and I actually saw my dad get arrested. And the desperation in his voice as he was like, no, she's lying to you. I've never done, like, what are you talking about? And so he got arrested. And I didn't know what that meant. I just know, well, my dad's not here. I'm not even allowed to look at him when we're in the house. I'm not allowed to talk to him when we're in the house. So I didn't really lose much. But then my mom would make comments about what happens in prisons and all of that once folks get convicted of such horrible things. And it just kind of clicked for me like, oh, this isn't just he's going away. Like, this is serious. And so then the next time I went to the child psychologist, I like told them everything. And so then they had me go to court, this whole drawn out process. And at the end of all that, they finally agreed that, yeah, no, all of this is fake. None of this happened. But somehow they put a restraining order on my dad and they let my mother keep the 3 of us, me and my 2 brothers. And so it was just more abuse because now she's angry because I didn't follow through with the plan. And so it was just progressively worse until I turned, I think, 16, 15. I got a car. I had my, permit. And, she then turned her psychosis, I guess, her episodes, they were on me, but she was now, since my dad wasn't there anymore, she had turned them sort of in the direction of my brother. And so I just couldn't, I was like, I'm not doing this again. And so when she did that, she made a comment, a very inappropriate comment. And so that night I was like, I'm done. So I just packed up my clothes, just like you see, on the cartoons in a little pillowcase, like
Yeah.
I stuck it all in my car and I just drove away and I was like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. So I just lived on couches, like friends' couches. I think for like a week I was doing the like, I'm homeless, living in my car, taking a shower at the gym kind of situation. But that was very short. I've been blessed with many families who have taken care of me. But then fast forward, I went to grad school. And after all that, a friend invited me to church because I just had messed up my life. I thought I was so smart, and everyone gives you the compliments of like, wow, your story's so inspirational, all this stuff, right? And so what happened is I grew this false humility and this arrogance within myself that I wouldn't show because that's not inspirational. So you're humble on the outside, but you're arrogant and prideful on the inside. And that was me. I got myself here. I got out of this. I got out of that. I overcame, blah, blah, blah. And so with all that pride and arrogance, just like the word says, that's how I felt. Like my life became a mess. I was living with some guy at the time. I was living with a boyfriend at the time. It was just a mess in every way possible. He was a smoker. I had dated folks in jail. I had dated, drug dealers, like all over the place. I was everywhere. So I realized I've made a mess of my life. And so I gave my life to Christ. A friend asked me, do you want to read the Bible? And we went through that whole process. And I remember being, I was sleeping. I think I'd moved out of the boyfriend's house by that time. And I just realized what a mess I had made of my life. And so I gave my life to Christ and I'm just like crying out to him. And I just hear, almost audibly, I just hear enough. But that enough didn't feel like an angry, like, stop crying. It was like, enough. Like, I'm done watching you suffer. And so I just like stood there like, who is that? Like, is that you? And in that moment, that's when I told God, like, I give you everything. Like, I don't just give you my faith. Like, I give you my faith. I give you my Monday through Friday. I give you my relationship. Take it away if that's not what you want me to do. You just tell me what you want me to do with my money, my job, my everything, and I will follow you. And that was just the start of the rest of my life, really. He's re-raised me. He's undone so much emotional damage. He's undone so much, even financial damage. I was in so much debt, you know, being, not having parents who kind of help you out while you're in college, and providing, using my financial aid and credit cards and whatever to provide for my mom and my brother and take groceries and all that stuff. And I would like give her money and she would rip it up because that's what you do when you're not well.
Right.
So he just cleaned everything up, and I've never looked back. And there isn't a time where he has asked me to do something where it's for selfish reasons. It's never like, oh, God is just going to ask you to do something that doesn't benefit you, even if it doesn't seem like it. Every time he's asked me to do something, it's out of love for it's out of love for me. It's out of love for, my spirit. Even if it's like, do this difficult thing, he cares more for our souls than he does for our life here on earth. And our souls and our spirits are eternal. And that's so much more important. And so that's kind of where he's brought me to now, 30 some odd years later.